talking point from 2015 that died in like 2020. If you want me to be honest, he's very clearly a politician. That second point that you made is that, well, he's came through on all of his promises, and you can't name another president that's ever done that. Okay, that's bullshit. First term, he promised an infrastructure bill, never happened. Biden got it done. He promised a wall, built less than 3%. He promised to stick the bill for that wall on Mexico. We paid for it, never got it done. Second term, he promised to cut the price of groceries so fast on day one your head would spin. Never got it done. Groceries are up 3% since his inauguration. He promised to end Russia's invasion of Ukraine on day one. Never got it done. The invasion is still raging on. And he promised about a billion other things on top of that, like no new wars. Look at us today in a new war in Iran. So clearly that claim is incorrect, Debbie. And then the last claim was going to crazy. First, you said his dad was kinda a racist. His dad was a member of the KKK. That's not a kinda. Second, you said, sure, maybe Donald Trump was a racist pervert in the 90s, but that doesn't mean he's a racist pervert today. Well, I would argue that if you've ever been a racist pervert, you're probably not qualified to run the most powerful country on the face of planet Earth. But what I can say is that he's still a racist pervert today, because although people can change within some degrees, doesn't mean that he did. And those other degrees that you can't change in, I would attribute to actions like rape, because I believe in order to rape somebody, you just gotta lack core fundamental moral values that you can't ever relearn. Go ahead, Debbie.
So when Biden was president, and he was accused, I mean, he has a son who's a crackhead.
No,
Oh,
Debbie, you
let me
can't say
talk.
that on
Let me talk.
TikTok. No, Debbie, you can't say that on
Oh,
TikTok. I may
okay. He
have.
was a whackhead. He was a whackhead. So, Mo, you don't want me to say it because you don't want to believe it, but it's true.
No, it's just
He
because you can't
was
say it
that.
on TikTok because of the terms of service. I might have to kick you. I really want this debate to play out because I want to hear your response to
Mhm.
everything I just said. So I'm just gonna keep you up here, and hopefully TikTok doesn't get you. But if they do, I might just randomly drop you.
It's okay. I'm not scared of TikTok or you or anybody.
Okay, Debbie. So try to respond to the claims that I made. Keep in mind, I didn't mention
Yes,
Biden,
sir.
and you're pivoting.
Yes, sir. You're younger than me, but I still respect you. And I said, yes, sir.
You
Okay.
can call me Dean.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Dean. Trump is not long. He's not a racist. He never was. You know, there are a proof. There's video of Biden being racist. There's video of other presidents being a pervert. Sorry, being a sexually, accused of things. Presidents before that have been accused and admitted to it. Have been. I mean, there's been so many other presidents before that. Why just this president? Is it such a big deal when he is saving us from an attack from Iran? Iran was going to attack us. I am okay with whatever he did in the past, in the bedroom, under the sheets, under the desk, under whatever. I don't care. Are you protecting me from some other country coming after us who hates America? I'm down with you, gangsta.
Okay. So you should care that the president raped a woman.
Has it been proven? Did he
Yes.
get committed for it?
Yes, a civil
When?
court proved it 2 years ago.
Wow. So if he was a rapist, then why is he not in jail?
Like I said, it was a civil court. So civil courts determine financial
Right.
responsibility. Criminal courts determine criminal responsibility. But that
Hmm.
doesn't change the fact that a court determined that he raped a woman. A unanimous jury of 9. Something else that you said in there is that he's helping to save us from an Iranian attack. What is your evidence that Iran was going to attack us? You don't have any. That's a baseless claim made to justify a baseless war.
Like Ukraine? That's a baseless war.
Yeah, I agree. It is. Yeah, like you,
Okay,
like
good.
like
We're in
Russia
agreement.
invading Ukraine. That's fucking
Yeah,
baseless.
we
Why the
agree.
hell would Russia invade Ukraine? They had no good reason to do that whatsoever. Yeah, that's another example of a conflict that never should have been started.
Right. So, so you want our president to just sit there after he's tried to negotiate with Iran and say, "Hey, where are those what are you doing with these nuclear bombs? What's going on?" And you want the president to just sit there and be a little punk like the presidents before and say, okay, you're not gonna bomb us? You're not? Okay, no problem. Okay, thank you, Mr. Iranian president. Thank you.
That's a lie.
No,
What you just said is a lie.
they
So
want to
first, you
they
can't
want
say
to
like
kill us.
presidents before, because unlike Donald Trump, the failed negotiating con man with 6 bankruptcies, okay, Obama was actually able to diplomatically negotiate with Iran, and he was able to secure us the JCPOA, which was a denuclearization agreement, which ensured that Iran would never be able to even construct nuclear weapons, and it gave us oversight to ensure that fact, such as 300 in-person visits per year to every single one of their nuclear facilities and 24/7 access to surveillance of all of their nuclear facilities. Not to mention they had to deconstruct and sell their enrichment facility, enrichment facility machinery, and they had to give all of their enriched uranium to another country. So don't say like every other president before. No, because Obama was great. In fact, the only reason why we're no longer in that agreement is because Trump pulled us out of it in his first term for no other reason than the fact that it had Obama's signature on it, and he fucking hated the guy. Now, second claim here about the nukes. Okay, there's no evidence that they were close to having nukes. There's no evidence that they had any enriched uranium at all, quite frankly. And in fact, like, you're a Trump loyalist. You should believe more than me that they didn't have any enriched uranium and they weren't close to having nukes whatsoever, because didn't Donald Trump blow up their enrichment facilities like 3 months ago and then turn around and claim that they'll never be able to have nukes? And now apparently 3 months later, they've already rebuilt the facilities, bought the machinery, and we're on the edge of doomsday, like Netanyahu's been telling us we have been since the 70s. Make it make sense.
Okay. So you were there, and I wasn't there when there was negotiation between Trump and nobody was there between. You don't know. We're not there. We are not there. So the only ones that know the negotiation that's going on is Trump and the Secretary of Defense, all of them. We are not there, Dean. Now, Dean, I'm 58 years old. I am worried about my grandkids. Do you think I want a nuclear bomb to hit us from a country that hates us? I don't want that, baby. I don't. So
You know who does know?
I
The IAEA, who keeps track of enriched uranium in Iran.
mhm.
And I just want to point it out there. What you just said, you weren't there, I wasn't there. Therefore, how could we know? So basically, what you're admitting to is having no evidence whatsoever that they were close to possessing nukes, and even in possession of some evidence that they aren't, because, well, the IAEA says they aren't, and Donald Trump said he blew up all their nuclear enrichment facilities. But you just want to baselessly start another war, risking the lives of many American troops, putting them on the line? Not to mention, you said you care about your grandkids. Okay, well, would you care about your grandson getting drafted because of Donald Trump's second endless war in the Middle East? You should. Okay. Because, I mean, it's definitely not new for American presidents to go to war and kill a bunch of young American men and boys. That happened to my great uncle in Vietnam. He was drafted when he was 20 years old, went to Vietnam, never came back because he died. What if that was your grandson in the near future? It's not like it'd be anything new, right? But my point here is you have no evidence that they were anywhere close to having nukes. Okay, my point here is you wouldn't even have to question if there was evidence that they were close to having nukes if Donald Trump didn't pull us out of the JCPOA. And my third point here is that there's no good reason to support Trump.
Okay, so you know what, Dean, good points. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just worried about what is being said, that, okay, they were going to attack us. It's either we attack them or they attack us.
Bro, that's just
And
baseless fear mongering. He said that to justify the war because he ran on no new wars. And in order to justify the war, of course, he has to come up with something such as, oh, if we didn't, kill their children, they were going to kill our children, right? To justify a strike on a girls' elementary school, killing upwards of 100 kids, which, by the way,
right.
was indicated as highly plausible today by a report. Okay, but listen. It's baseless. It's fear mongering. It's the same kind of rhetoric that we heard from Bush and Bush era Republicans to justify the first war in the Middle East. Oh,
Okay.
they're gonna have Saddam Hussein is gonna have weapons of mass destruction. Turns out it was all bullshit. All right. And I mean, even if we look back at the Nuremberg trials, the Germans lawyers were trying to argue that their attempted invasion of Norway was justified as it was a preemptive invasion because they thought that Britain was going to invade Norway first and then use that as strategical land to fight Nazi Germany. And you know what was determined at the Nuremberg trials? That these quote unquote preemptive strikes don't exist. Okay, you can't attack someone else because you think they're going to attack you. And in fact, if you attack them, I mean, you're damn near ensuring that they're going to attack you.
Okay, question. So, if all this was bad, then why were all the Iranians here in the United States and in Iran
Irania.
celebrating?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry,
Irania?
Iran. I'm sorry, Iran. Why are the Iranians? Is that what they called Iranians?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not from there.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we saw some Iranians celebrating because
Not
their
some, a lot.
brutal fucking dictator died. If I was an Iranian, I would have probably celebrated for a night. Okay, the same way if I was an Afghani or an Iraqi in the early 2000s, I would have celebrated for a night when Saddam Hussein got it. Okay, but we can't equate here between dictator dying and justification to start a war. Because every single time America's killed a dictator, especially in the Middle East in the past, has just led to a power vacuum, war, civil war, death, and violent overthrow of authoritarian regimes. It's literally led to that in Iran before. We took out their leader in 53. We didn't kill him. We just put him on house arrest. And then we replaced him with our own installed leader, which then led to a liberation movement. And then the violent extremists that govern over Iran today overtook that movement of liberation, installed themselves, and look at us today. Look at them today. It's terrible. Or like even Afghanistan is a great example. Okay, we went in
Okay.
there, we took out their dictator, and then we occupied the region for over 20 years while we were still fighting more and more people. And then eventually, when we left 20 years later, okay, we still left a power vacuum. We still couldn't build structure secure enough to prevent that authoritarian takeover. And then the Taliban overthrew Afghanistan's government. So very clearly here, the just